10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good night, everybody, and welcome to the John DiVito Show. It is Friday night, 10 past 8 o'clock in the Boston area, January 15th. And yeah, I haven't been on for a week, so I apologize to all my regulars. I've had a very busy week for work and just needed a break after my show last Saturday on the Agape boarding school and some of the abuses that have been happening there. So I took a week off. I haven't done any live shows, and I've had a number of people emailing me, asking me if I'm okay, asking me when I'm going to be on again. So my apologies to all the people that tuned into my show. I will come back this weekend and probably do a live show and then do a couple again next week. Just I'm very busy, with my career and all different types of things going on in my life. So I apologize to those that have missed my show this past week. And I decided to get on tonight and record a show just to talk about some of the things that are happening in this country right now and some of the things that I know are bothering a lot of people out there. We are certainly right now in a time that is unprecedented for a lot of us in our lives. For me, I'm 53 years old. I'm an older guy, and I have never experienced many of the things that have happened to all of us during 2020 and here into 2021. For me, I've never been through a pandemic like this where literally the entire country has been shut down for the period of almost a year. I have never been through an election like we just went through, where many people felt that there was malfeasance on the part of the left in this country, and many people feel that the president was cheated out of this election. Then we had the uprisings that happened back on January 6th at the Capitol building, and for me, whether you're left, whether you're right, I don't think it matters to a lot of people. I mean, the way I felt after that day was, again, I've been a Trump supporter. But the way I felt that day is I felt, I don't know, like hurt, upset. It was troublesome to see the country that I've grown up in, the country that I've lived in, with that type of violence being shown at the Capitol building. But, so many people on the left have been so quick to call out all the people on the right over what happened at the Capitol building on January 6th. And don't get me wrong, what happened that day was wrong. John DiVito on this show, I will never condone violence. I don't think violence is the way to go. I think violence begets violence, and the more it happens, the worse things get. So I will never agree to violence in any manner whatsoever. However, the left has to be somewhat consistent. They did nothing but chastise our president. They did nothing but chastise the 75 million people that supported President Trump. And like I said, what happened to the Capitol building when people supposedly stormed the gates and went in, that was wrong. There's no doubt about it that was wrong. And I will never defend that. Of course, there were questions as to whether or not people actually stormed the Capitol building. I've seen a lot of videos that show police officers pulling back the gates and welcoming people into the Capitol building. And I still remember watching that day, and I thought it was extremely strange that they had those felt, aisleway type of partitions set up in the State House, and you had people filing in, single file through that line, taking pictures of the different monuments in the State House. And to me, it seems like that there's a lot of evidence that maybe people were allowed in. Now, I wasn't there because I didn't want to put myself in danger. I didn't want to put my children in danger. But if I'm at the front of that line and I'm there and I'm a peace-loving Trump supporter and I see the police waving me in and they're pulling the gates back, my assumption would have been, oh, okay, it's all right for me to come in. And I probably would have gone in just thinking that we were allowed into the building. I mean, the damage that was done in the State House was disgusting. There's been talk, were those actually Trump supporters? Were they Antifa? Were they Black Lives Matter? I'm not sure any of that. I'm not sure. That's up for the police and the FBI and the CIA to do their investigations. But for me, when I saw the violence that happened, it was just disgusting. I don't know where it came from, but with the left chastising the right, the politicians are out to drive the dagger through the heart of our president and to drive the dagger through the heart of the right in this country right now. If you look at what happened over the summer, what happened over the summer with the rallies that turned into riots all across our country. We had something like $20 billion worth of damage. I think it was 200 people died or something to that effect over the course of the summer with the different riots that happened. There were businesses destroyed, businesses looted, widespread damage all over the country. There were parts of the country that were taken over by extremist groups and they refused help from the National Guard. I understand that we're talking a little bit about apples and oranges. Over the summer, there were some incidents, with George Floyd and different things that happened. And you had a very angry group of African Americans, white Americans, people from different, racial backgrounds that were very upset over the violence that's happened to African Americans in this country. For one, I'm one that agrees with that. I do not think it is at all appropriate for law enforcement to target anyone based on the color of their skin. Now, George Floyd, over the summer was a different story. He wasn't a great guy. We've all seen his records. He was a drug addict. He committed crimes. He once held a gun to his pregnant girlfriend's stomach and threatened to kill her unborn baby. We were talking about a guy that wasn't a good guy. Did he deserve to die that day? No, he didn't. But unfortunately, when you live a life of crime, eventually you're going to be on the wrong side of the equation if you're constantly breaking laws. You're well known to police. And, that day, unfortunately, he ran into the wrong police officer. That police officer kneeled on him until he was dead. And that was awful. And to make it clear as to where I stand, I did 2 shows shortly after that were titled George Floyd Was Murdered. So I did not agree with anything that happened. However, in my opinion, the rallies that were peaceful across this country packed power. When I see a group of people getting together, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, whatever the number is, when I see people get together and I see them peacefully protest, from my perspective, that is a show of power. That is a show of power. You're better than the violence that got you to the point where you had to rally, and you're making a statement to the country and the world that you don't agree with a certain type of behavior. So for me, I completely understand where Black Lives Matter comes from. I get it. But really, if you're someone that supports that cause, you really have to look at who's gotten you where you are today. I've made this point on my show over and over and over again. And it amazes me that a lot of, Black America, poor white America, Hispanic America have continued for the last 50 years to vote Democrat, when the Democrats in general are people that have got you hooked on welfare, got you hooked on food stamps, got you hooked on Section 8. They don't provide jobs, but they provide social programs that keep you hooked on needing the government to provide for you and your family. And when you need the government to provide for you and your family, you have to vote in that direction. So to me, when I look at what the Democratic Party has done for minorities, for poor whites that live in the inner cities, they've gotten you hooked on government programs. And in my opinion, as I've said time and time again, I feel that this is slavery 2021. So, I get where Black Lives Matter comes from. I get that they're unhappy. I get that Black people over many, many years have been treated very unfairly in this country. I see it. I'm aware of it. But then, you look at what party has done the least to help them. I mean, if you look at what Trump did over the last 4 years, Donald Trump brought jobs back to America. There were jobs in the inner cities. You know, they were turning the lights back on in the car manufacturing plants in Michigan. They were bringing jobs back to this country from overseas and providing good paying jobs for middle and low middle class Americans. And, you know, I get that people out there are frustrated, but for me, it's just so clear when I look at what's been going on is that it seems like one side, you know, is always blaming the other. You have the left that for the last 4 years has done nothing but attack our president, attack the right, call the people that follow Trump deplorables, calling us racist, calling us misogynist, and everything else they've called us. I'm none of that. I am none of that. You know, for me, I am a white guy that lives in suburbia. There's no doubt about that. You know, I can't lie about what I am. That's what I am. I'm a father of 4, and I live in a town that's probably, I don't know, 99% white. All right. But for me, I have had nothing in my life but positive interactions with people from different ethnic backgrounds. I have never had a bad experience with anybody. I've told the story time and time again about my 18-year-old son who's on the autism spectrum. He wanted to be a boxer. We watched Rocky together. He decided he wanted to be a boxer. So I knew nothing about boxing, and he's not much of an athlete. He never has been. He's a great kid, but sports has never been his thing. So the only boxing gym I could find was an inner city boxing gym in the city of Worcester, Massachusetts, Camp Get Right, owned by Kendrick Ball. Kendrick Ball is a well-known boxing trainer in our area. There's a guy by the name of Fitzy that trains people out of this gym. He fought Roberto Duran, a well-known fighter. They train professional boxers. Edwin Rodriguez, who fought Andre Ward. Jermaine Ortiz, who just fought on the Tyson card a couple weeks ago when Tyson fought Roy Jones Jr. So they train real boxers. Now, I brought my little white autistic 18-year-old son, at the time he was probably 10, into this gym and met Kendrick right away. He came up, introduced himself to me. Here are a couple of suburban white guys coming into an inner city gym where we were basically the only suburban white people in the gym at that time. He came over. I told him what the deal was about my son. He said, absolutely, I will train your son. For the next literally 9 years, this man took my son under his wing and trained my son in boxing. Is my son ever going to be a boxer? No. No, he is not. But he helped him develop self-confidence. He helped him be part of a family in this gym, to the point where when I would go into this gym, I would bring my son in, and literally every single person in this gym would fist bump my son. How you doing, champ? Good to see you, champ. Hey, Matt, welcome back, buddy. They would treat him like a king. When he asked to spar with people because he wanted to fight, Kendrick, the owner of the gym, would put him in with professional boxers and allow him to box them like 3 or 4 rounds. They wouldn't hit my son back, but he could hit them. And for him, it was a dream come true. This was a group of inner city people of color that welcomed in a white father and his white autistic son into their gym when they trained serious boxers. They brought my son in and they changed his life. My son, you know, boxed there for many years. Recently, he discovered a talent for acting. So my son ended up getting a lead in a play recently where he was Buddy the Elf in Elf the Musical. The owner of the gym came to a college out in suburbia, white college, all white people in the audience, and brought members of the gym to see my son perform in his play. This gentleman, Kendrick Ball, and the boxers of Camp Get Right Gym in Worcester, Massachusetts are heroes. Are heroes. They're good people, and they changed my son's life. So it bothers me when I hear a party talk about, you know, well, all people that follow Trump are racist. No, it is not the truth. It is not the truth. I wish that people I knew had embraced my son as much as these complete strangers did in this gym and changed his life. So for me, when I hear one political party calling another political party racist, it angers me. I get angry because it's not right, it's not fair, and it's not just, and it's not true. It's not true. So what have we seen now? We've seen for 4 years, the left has done everything in their power. 19 minutes after President Trump was inaugurated back in 2016, they announced they were going to start the impeachment against him. 19 minutes after he was put into office. 19 minutes. For 4 years, we heard about Russia investigation. We heard about everything this president did was wrong, was unjust. He's a racist. He's homophobic, on and on and on and on. Personally, I haven't seen it. Maybe I have rose-colored blinders on. I don't know, but I have not seen it. I have not seen it. What I've seen is half of this country doing everything they could over the course of 4 years to destroy our president. And they're still trying to do it. January 6th was blamed on him. We have members of the FBI that have come out and said January 6th was not incited by the president. Some people believe Antifa and BLM may have been behind storming the Capitol building to make the deplorables look more deplorable than they have in the past. So I'm not sure if that's true or not. Again, that's up for the authorities. So what's happened after that? So Biden won. There was a lot of questions as to whether or not he legitimately won. Were the votes accurate? Did Dominion help them cheat? Did they stuff ballots with mail-in due to COVID? Who knows? All that stuff has been investigated. A lot of it supposedly has been debunked. But you can't tell what's true and what's false in society anymore. And the reason why you can't tell is because we do not have news media outlets that are accurately reporting the news. You have CNN, which is left. MSNBC, which is left. The New York Times, which is left. The Washington Post, which is left. Most of the news organizations in print and on television are all left-leaning political platforms that are meant to basically indoctrinate the population into believing their political platform. You have Fox that's kind of on the right, but it's become more centrist. You've got Newsmax that's right. You know, the Gateway Pundit. There are a lot of institutions out there that are obviously very right as well, right wing. So you don't have any institutions that are truly reporting news. You have people that are spinning for their political party, and they are censoring American speech. Has anyone read the Constitution? Okay, I'll give you all a second. Who's read the Constitution? I assume some of you have. Who is familiar with the First Amendment? Free speech. Free speech. That is the staple of our country, is free speech. We are allowed free speech in this country. It's part of the Constitution. It is a God-given right of the people in the United States of America. We were born in this country. It's a free country, and we are allowed to speak our mind. Does that mean there are not consequences for the things that you say? No, of course not. If you come out and you make racist comments and you do terrible things, you're going to get called out on it. But you still have the ability to make that decision to get out and speak the way you feel that you should speak. That is freedom of speech. So now that we're in this political climate, you have Twitter, you have Facebook, you have Amazon, you have TikTok, you have all these different social media platforms banning the president. They're banning the president, and they're censoring the speech of only the right. They're censoring the speech of one party. I mean, when you look at Twitter, and Donald Trump is no longer allowed to post on Twitter, but the Ayatollah of Iran, who threatened to kill the president, is still allowed to post on Twitter. In what world is that just? In what world is that right? It's not. It is censorship. It is censorship. And here we are, 2021. I'm an older guy. Right now, social media is the new platform. Newspapers are dead. Television news is dying. Radio is dying. Satellite radio is dying. What is running this country right now are social media platforms. If you want to make money, advertise your company on Facebook. You'll have 1,000 orders just by being on someone's Facebook stream in a given state or across the country. So Facebook controls information. Mark Zuckerberg controls information. They have done nothing for the last 2 years but ban the right's speech, take away the freedom of speech from the right, and allow the left to basically say anything they want. Jack Dorsey, same thing. Twitter, you ban the president. You're censoring the American people. You are taking away the freedom of speech. How about Amazon? What did they do? They cut off Parler. So people who were Republican got tired of the control on Twitter and Facebook. So a new company came out called Parler. I joined it. A lot of right-wing people, a lot of conservative people, a lot of centrist people, and yes, some liberal people joined Parler. It was a platform that promised free speech. So what happened when you got this platform that allowed people from the right to get together and talk without being censored? The internet censored them. Amazon took them down. Apple removed them from their app store. Google got rid of them. So you've got Twitter and Facebook that's allowed to basically preach anything they want. A lot of the Black Lives Matter rallies that happened over the summer that included Antifa, they were coordinated through Facebook. So Facebook can allow Antifa to coordinate riots. That's okay. Twitter can allow the Ayatollah of Iran to threaten the president on their platform and not censor him. But Donald Trump, the president of the United States, has been banned from Twitter. Give me a break. Give me a break. Give me a break. And again, you can say all you want. These are private companies. You know, you don't, they can do whatever they want. They can refuse service. You're right. They can. But what I would like to see is for every person that feels they've been censored, for every person that feels they've been treated unfairly by Twitter, by Facebook, by these other giants in technology, there's one thing you can do. Shut off your accounts. Shut off your accounts. I deleted my Facebook. I deleted my Twitter. I'm done. I will not support any social media platform that censors the American people and censors our president. I will not support it. And again, I can live without knowing what happened to little Johnny's kids. You know, a guy I knew in high school, I haven't seen in 30 years. I guess I'm going to miss seeing that his kids had travel basketball this weekend, but, you know, I'll learn to live with it. I'll learn to live with it, with the disappointment. So that's where we're at in this country right now, you know, and I haven't done a show for the last week, and I try not to do too many political rants on my live shows. And this really isn't meant to be, you know, an angry political rant. It really isn't. I mean, this is, you know, where we live, man. Yeah, we live in the United States of America. We live in the greatest country on the face of this earth. We represent freedom. We represent opportunity for everybody. And it's being taken away from us. Our speech is being taken away from us. Our opportunity is being taken away from us. Our government is out of control. And when I say our government, you know, we have the Institute of the President. The president has 2 term limits of 4 years each, and then the president is done. A president cannot last in office more than 8 years. I agree with that 100%. If Trump had been in for 8 years and it was his time to go, it's his time to go. Because you can't have one person in power for 30 years. That's when you have communist countries. That's when you have dictatorships. That's when you have fascists running the country. But why are we allowing the House, the Congress, the Senate, why are we allowing them to stay in office for 30, 40, 50 years? You look at Mitch McConnell. You look at Nancy Pelosi. They've been in office for over 40 years. They are the problem. They are the problem. They believe that they are monarchy. They believe that they are, you know, kings and queens. They believe that they are leading us, when in actuality, they are supposed to be representatives of the people. That's why we vote to put these people in office. We vote to put these people in the office to be a representative and a voice of the people, not to push their own agendas, not to come up with bailout plans that send billions of dollars overseas to other countries while the American people are getting $600. Not to give $1 billion to the Smithsonian when you have people in the inner cities and across small towns across this country losing their businesses. They can't feed their families, and we're sending billions of dollars overseas and $1 billion to the Smithsonian. Are you kidding me? Let's all remember that this money that they're giving away isn't their money. This is our money. This is money that we've worked for. This is money that we've earned. This is tax money that we've paid into our government. So basically, that $600 you're getting back is just a refund of the money that you paid into our government. And all the money they're sending overseas, honestly, how dare they? How dare they take the money of the American people and send that overseas when the people in this country are starving? Now, my family is fortunate. We're in a place where we would not receive a check from the government. And guess what? I'm not greedy. I agree with that. I agree with it. As of right now, my family does not need assistance. I don't want a check. I don't need a check. We're doing okay without it. Give the money to the people that need the help. Go into the inner cities and help the businesses that are losing their businesses. Help the people that don't have jobs. Help the people in the restaurant industry that can't go to work because of COVID. Don't send billions of dollars overseas to like Nepal. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is what we've got in this country right now. So you've got a political system that's broken. You have got people on the left that have spent 4 years trying to destroy a president. They're still trying to destroy him. They've even impeached him on the way out the door. So he's done. And they've impeached him anyway because they want to ban him from office in the future. They don't want him to run again. Now we've got also members of the right wing are saying on the first day of Joe Biden's presidency, they're going to file for articles of impeachment against Biden. So we're going to get 4 more years of nothing but garbage. But can you blame the right? For the last 4 years, the left has done nothing from day one but try to destroy the right and destroy our president. So now it's going to continue under the new administration. That's where we are in this country. We've got the left blaming the right for violence when the left did nothing but create violence all summer long. All summer long. And you had members of the House and Senate supporting them. You had, was it Maxine Waters, Nancy Pelosi? You had several members. Kamala Harris was one of them that came out and made comments saying that the people this summer should continue to riot and should continue to create unrest until their voices are heard. But when you get 1 million Republicans in Washington, D.C. attending a rally, and you've got a small handful that storm the Capitol once the police open the gates and welcome people in, they are deplorables. They are domestic terrorists. They are this, they are that. I mean, the majority of what I saw were a bunch of peaceful people getting together to support their president and show the love for their country. And apparently that's no longer celebrated. So the right, the whites, whatever, we're all domestic terrorists. We all hate our country. We're all racist. We're all misogynists. I'm here to tell you it's not true. It is not true. You're being fed a bill of goods by the party that has kept you down for many, many years. And that's just how I see it. You know, that's how I see it. And it's unfortunate because I would love nothing more than to live in a country where we all live together in peace and in harmony. I would love to see the political parties working together to truly make this country a better place for everybody. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody, not just the rich. You know, if there are people out there that are homeless, that can't pay their bills, that can't work because of disabilities or mental issues, they need help and they should get help. They shouldn't be living on the street. They shouldn't be looking for handouts of money so they can survive. There should be help. There should be appropriate mental health services for these people. There should be help. For people that are busting their ass in the inner cities, that are busting their ass in suburbia, that are busting their ass across the Midwest and different parts of the country, that just can't make ends meet. In my opinion, they should get help. They should get help from the government. And that type of help shouldn't be complete handouts of welfare with no chance of ever having job prosperity. Because face it, when you have a job, you develop self-esteem. You have a sense of worth. You have a work ethic. You show your children your work ethic. You go out and you bust your backside to earn money, and your children learn that way of life. That's how my family learned it. My father watched my grandparents work in factories their whole lives. They never made any money. They never had anything. My grandmother and my grandfather died with like $15,000 to their name. They never owned a house, but they never took a penny from anybody. They worked their ass off. So my father spent 9 years going to night school for college while he worked in factories, and he got his degree. Why did he have that work ethic? Why did he get up every day and go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning and not come home till 7 o'clock at night? Because that's what he learned from his parents. That's what he learned from his parents. That's what I learned from my father. That's what my wife learned from her parents. And if you have a political party that creates welfare and makes it a way of life, I don't blame anybody that's caught up in that cycle. If you're caught up in that cycle, I will pray for you because it's being done on purpose. You have part of your government that wants to keep you down and they want to keep you dependent on the system. I pray for all of you. I pray for all of you. The people that live in the inner cities, you know, Hispanic Americans, Black Americans, poor white Americans, you deserve a chance at the American dream like everybody else. You deserve safe streets. You deserve to have a good education. You deserve good schools. Your kids have the right to be safe. And you all have the rights to get good jobs, good paying jobs. And again, if you don't have a college degree, maybe you didn't get your high school degree. That's okay. There should still be jobs for all of you to make a living, to support your family, and to be able to put food on the table for everyone in your family and to take care of your loved ones. And right now in society, that's not happening. And it's unfortunate. So I see so many things right now that are bothering me. You know, we have censorship of the government right now. We have censorship from social media platforms. We have our news media not reporting honestly to us. And I've never seen the country like this. I have never seen it like this. We have a new president being inaugurated this upcoming week. You have some factions of the population that feel that maybe that's not going to happen. I have no idea. For me, but I do know that from my perspective, things need to change in this country. They need to change. We need change. And I think one of the things we could start with is we have to have term limits on all politicians. I've said this on many shows. If you're talking school committee members, you're talking mayors, you're talking governors, you're talking state representatives, senators, whatever, vice president, president, Congress, they all need to have term limits. Without term limits, we are not bringing in new people. We're not bringing in fresh ideas, and we're allowing connected people to stay in with the help of expensive donors and control all of us. That is not how our founding fathers envisioned this country. That's not how the Constitution was written. And that is not how we were supposed to live and govern our country. So I think we all need to start with calling your local, congressmen, your local senators, post things on social media. We all need to call out for term limits from everybody. I think it's very important to get that done. And I don't think our president's going to do that the way out the door. I mean, I hear stories like everybody's hearing. I hear stories of insurrection is coming. I hear stories about the military, the president declaring martial law. Honestly, that scares the hell out of me. I'm 53 years old. I've never experienced that in my life. I don't know what that's going to be like if it does happen. Of course, it could all be just right-wing stuff, and the inauguration is going to happen as expected this upcoming week, and Biden's going to be our president. And if that does happen and Biden becomes our president, let me be clear. I don't want him to fail. I don't want our president to fail, because if our president fails, we all fail. We all fail. If our president comes into office and it's a four-year failure, then our country is going to lose jobs. We're going to lose money. We're going to lose ground to our, global competitors, and it's going to be bad for all of us. It's going to be bad for all of us. And I think at some point we all have to be smart enough to realize that we are being divided. We're being divided by the powers that be. We're allowing the politicians to divide our country. We're busy arguing about, for abortion, against abortion, for the death penalty, against death penalty, black, white, men, women. We're allowing them to separate us every opportunity they get. But what we still haven't realized as a population and as a people is that we are stronger together as one. We need white Americans supporting black Americans supporting white Americans. We need to have liberals and the right finding common ground so that we can actually pull this country together. I hear things like, well, you're right wing. You must not care about climate change. Of course I do. Of course I do. I mean, do you think I want a planet that's not healthy? I mean, I have doubts as to some of the severity and some of the studies that have come out, but of course I want to live in a safe planet that's healthy for me and my children. If I could afford a Tesla, if I could go out and spend $100,000 on a Tesla, I'd go buy one, but they're expensive. If all cars become Teslas in the next 50 years, great. Then we limit the carbon emissions into the atmosphere and things get better. I'm for a clean planet. I'm for people getting along. I'm for, people that are not from my own socioeconomic background or my own ethnic background. I'm for all of you having a great life and being successful and achieving your dreams and having healthy, safe children that don't have to worry about being shot when they go to school. I believe in all those things, but I also believe in the Constitution. I believe in freedom. I believe in the First Amendment. I believe in the right to bear arms because, I'm a gun owner. None of my guns have ever walked out of my house on their own and shot anybody. And I'm still waiting for it to happen. And I'm betting you, if you ask any gun owner in this country as to whether a gun has walked out of their house and killed anybody, I'm guessing the answer for most of them is probably no. So the issue with gun violence we have is not a gun issue. It's an issue with people in this country who have been, poisoned mentally, who are angry, who feel desperate, who have mental health issues that haven't been treated. And why did they get to that point? Really? You need to ask that question? Look at our society. Look at the way we're all fighting right now. Look at the hate that's so evident across this country and across this world right now. And you can see how anybody would eventually feel that there's no other way. And it's unfortunate because we do not have to have such negativity and hate in our country. We need to get back to loving each other. We need to get back to supporting each other. We need to get back to finding common ground in this country so we can live in a free country that benefits everybody, not just the few rich, not entitlement programs for people that the government wants to control, but a true economy that promotes everybody with the opportunity for living a good, productive, happy life. And with all the money we were just about to send overseas, the billions overseas, how about bring that money into our inner cities? Bring them to our farms, give them to the business owners that have lost their businesses over the last several years. But no, we don't do that. We allow Walmart to stay open. We allow Target to stay open. We allow Home Depot to stay open, Lowe's to stay open, Amazon to stay open. All of these giant box stores. And I guess you could say Amazon doesn't count, but Amazon does count because they have thousands of employees working in the warehouses. So people may not be shopping in their warehouses, but there are thousands of people working in their warehouses, many of whom came down with COVID. So why is our country, why is our government allowed Chinese retail companies to continue selling during this pandemic? I mean, face it, that's what Walmart is. They don't really buy American-made products. They buy cheap products in China, and they sell them in America. That's what Target does. That's what Home Depot does. That's what Amazon does. And I get why they do it. I worked for a company years ago where we had a certain type of product. If we sold an American-made brand from a company that was based in Kansas City, great company, great products, my company made a gross profit margin of probably 35 to 40%. Net profit margin probably 18 to 20% before taxes. When we sold the Chinese-made product of the same quality or the same make anyway, I'm not sure if it was the same quality, we made 60 to 70% gross profit margin. We profited probably 45% net profit, and after taxes, it was less than that. But we made a lot more money when we sold Chinese-made products. That's why companies do it. But why are we allowing all these Chinese retail companies to stay open when we're shutting down all the mom and pops across this country that make American-made products, that are small businesses, that families sink all of their money in to get these things going? We shut those down because they're dangerous. Because let's face it, a small mom and pop shop may have 8 people shopping in it on a Saturday, but when you go into a Lowe's or a Walmart, there may be 300 people in that store. But it's safe to shop there, but you can't go to church. That's unsafe. Or you can't go to a small business. That's unsafe. But hey, going to Walmart, 300 people in there, you're all good. You can shop there. So I don't know. For me, I love this country more than anything. I love its residents. I love the diversity we have in this country. I think we are the greatest country in the world, being we have people from so many different countries, so many different ethnic backgrounds. That is what makes us great. But we need to finally pull it together as an American people. We need to pull it together. Right now, we are a country that is scrambling. We're fledgling. We're suffering. We don't have leadership that's bringing us together. We have leadership that's separating us. Could you imagine how great this country could be if the left and the right pulled together? Black and white people work together. Men and women stop fighting each other and work together. If we could all pull together and work together and come to common ground, just imagine how great the United States of America could be. Like I've said from day one, this is the greatest country on the face of the earth, but right now, it's wounded. It needs help, and we need to remove the problem in this country, and the problem is, hands down, the politicians. And I'm not saying just on the left and the right. We have corrupt politicians on both sides of the aisle, and we, a nation of 350 million people, are giving the power to under 600 people in this country to control all of us and to lead us down the wrong path. Now, we should never protest violently, ever. Let me be clear. That should never happen. But I think we need to send peaceful messages to our government. whether it's emails, whether it's phone calls, whether it's peaceful rallies. We need to let them know that the American people demand term limits. That's the first step of us winning our country back. Until we have term limits, until we have freedom of speech, and until we pull together as one true United States of America, we're dead. We're dead. And we are not going to survive. So, I'm a patriot. I don't mean that in any way to be political. I'm a patriot because I love this country. I've lived here my whole life. I've been to other countries, and no place in this country, in this world, compares to the United States of America. No one. It is the best country in the world, and we need to keep it that way, because you need to remember, freedom is not free. We have millions of soldiers that have died to give us freedom, that allow us to sit in our houses and watch Netflix and surf Facebook and do podcasts and do whatever we do. We have military personnel that have given their lives so we can have freedom. But freedom is always only one generation away from being gone. And we need to fight to preserve our freedom. We need to protect it, because if we don't protect it, we will not keep it. It'll be gone. It'll be taken away from us. And the United States of America will be like the Roman Empire. It'll be gone. So for everybody out there in America, for everybody that's suffering, for the people that are suffering financially, I'm praying for you. For the people that are living in the inner cities, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, I don't care what nationality you are. You're all my brothers. You're all my sisters. I love each and every one of you. I care about you, and I'm praying for you. For the American soldiers right now that are in the Capitol and all over the country, I'm praying for you. For the police, for the American people, whether you're left wing, right wing, centrist, Green Party, Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter. I am praying for all of you. I am praying for everybody in this country that we can turn this thing around and we can live in a country where we have freedom of speech, right to bear arms, we follow the Constitution, and everybody, regardless of religion, color, sex, sexual origin, whatever, none of that stuff matters to me. And it shouldn't matter to the rest of us. We need to have a country where we can all thrive and we all support each other. So just know that John DeVito is here. I care about you. If you want to shoot me an email, you can email me at thejohndevitoshow@gmail.com. You can no longer hit me up on Twitter because I canceled it. You can no longer hit me up on Facebook because I canceled that. But you can hit me up on Clouthub, MeWe, what's the other one? Spreely. I'm on TikTok and also on Instagram right now. So you can find me on all those platforms right now, or you can email me. Send me a private message. If you want to come on my show, let me know. I'll book you and I'll get you in the air with me. All right? I love to bring on people to talk about this country. And, man, we could be so great. We could be so great if we just pulled together. So let's all try to do that. For anyone that listens to my voice, if you hear me on download, whatever, remember, this podcast is never about hate. It's about love. I love all my brothers and sisters in this country. I truly mean it. I love all of you. I don't care what your, what your race is. I don't care what your sex is, whether you're male, female, transgender. I don't care. Whether you're straight, whether you're gay. It doesn't matter to me. I love you no matter what. Good people are good people. Bad people are bad people. And a lot of times when I think of bad people, I just think those bad people have been led down the wrong path. So I think that even all bad people, as we say, quote unquote, bad people, they're all redeemable. They can all change their path and hopefully go in the right direction. So I will even pray for all of our politicians, the left and the right. See the light. See the light. Understand that we need to start doing the right thing for the American people and not the right thing for just the people that live in those chambers in Washington, D.C. It's time. It's time we put the American people first, because, damn it, that's why you're there. And that's what your job. And it's time for all of you to start doing your job. All right, so thank you, everybody, for listening to my show tonight. This is John DeVito from The John DeVito Show. Went on a bit of a rant tonight, but I felt like I needed to get it out. Look for me over the next week. If any of you would like to listen to me live, you can tune into Podbean. You can add the app on your phone. You can get in for free, sign up your email address, and you can go into my live shows. You can call into my shows. You can chat. There's like a little chat box where you can ask questions and you can participate. So you can listen to all my live shows on Podbean. If you don't want to listen live, I'm on Apple Podcasts. I'm on, all the different iHeartRadio, Spotify, whatever. I'm on all the different platforms, so you can find me. So if you could, tell a friend about my show. And again, God bless everybody. It's going to be a crazy week coming up. Nobody knows what's really going to happen. I'm hoping that we're going to have a peaceful week. I don't want to see any more bloodshed. I don't want to see anybody else hurt. I'm praying for the officers and the National Guard. I'm praying for my friends on the left. I'm praying for my friends on the right. Let's hope for a peaceful week. Let's hope that we can get this country back on track and just get the best country on the face of the earth going in the right direction again. Okay? So this is John DeVito signing off for the John DeVito Show. Hope you all have a great night. And I greatly appreciate each and every one of you for joining my show.